Buddy. It has been a little while. Super excited to welcome Dr. Patricia Petralba to the show Successful as Fuck. As always, I'm your host, Raya Gonzalez, and we are here to dive in to personal success, unconventional success, and how we define it. More specifically, how Dr. Patricia defines it. So, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ria, for having me. And I want to say you were so brave saying my last name
Oh,
and did it very well. So success there, yeah.
check.
Check.
Well, thank you for coming. As you know, usually we just talk a little bit about your journey, your personal journey, towards where you are today and where you hope to be in the future. So take us back to early adulthood and when you started out as an adult, how did you feel regarding success? What did that look like for you?
So growing up and in my early 20s, success looked like and felt like, because, going through medical doctor training, it was about, making the grades, being good in your class, being seen and heard or acknowledged, validated by your professors, um, and still get to enjoy, things that a normal 20-year-old would want to do. So it's always like very outward and um, doing young things, but at the same time, academic. Um, and also for me, it was important for me to have some form of independence, financial independence from my parents, because in the Filipino culture, so I was born and raised in the Philippines. When you're in school, you are under an allowance. It's hard to work and be in school,
Yeah.
especially as a medical doctor. And so, to me, if I was able to also have some form of um, income stream, so I can have freedom to do what I want outside school, was my um, idea of success then.
I love
Mhm.
that. What did you do for extra money?
So many funny stuff now that I when I recall. No, first I used to sell homemade soaps.
Yes, that's awesome.
And it would literally, my revenue would be $1. But $1 would give me an allowance to buy a movie ticket.
Yeah.
I used to sell also very uh, unique candles. They're made by my cousin, and I also sold shirts, like T-shirts.
Nice.
So yeah, I was hustling
I love
as a
it.
medical student, and yeah.
I love it. Well, and it's like I'm kind of that way too, like always having a side job or whatever. And there's something really satisfying about doing like weird side jobs and like just getting like a little extra jingle jangle in your pocket. And
Right.
I know that like my daughters, I mean my husband is from Mexico, so the culture is very much the same, and the financial dependence and whatnot. And my daughters are very financially independent because they do not want
Mhm.
anyone telling them how to spend their money.
Right, right.
So they're
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna get my money and you are not gonna tell me how to spend my money. And also they both, one daughter stayed until she was 21, but the other daughter graduated high school and like bolted out the door and moved to California because I mean, in
Wow.
the culture, usually you don't move out until you're married. So like they were like, yeah, no, I'm not having you tell me I can't go to the club or I can't do this or I can't do that. Like you can't say my house, my rules anymore because
Exactly,
yes,
exactly. So same thing with Filipino. You don't leave the house until you're married.
yes,
Leaving before is like,
yes,
"Wh- what? Why are you leaving us?" No, it's disrespectful. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I think, I mean, because they're also American, it was a little bit more accepted, but it was like weird, especially
Right.
about like my 21-year-old, she was almost 22. So that was like, okay, I could kind of see she's been working since she was 15. She wanted independence, but to have my middle one just leave, so like I knew she was going to do that, but it was just like weird. Like, you don't have
Uh-huh.
to like leave. Like you
Right.
can
Right.
stay if you want to,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's like, and that one, speaking of hustling, like she has 3 jobs. She
Wow.
works at Knott's Berry Farm, she in California, and then she's a nanny, and then she also works as a princess at a hotel. And so she's just like doing life and doing it on her own terms. And like she knew she wanted to live in California. She lives in Orange County, which is like so ridiculously expensive, but that's like where she wants to be. And she's happy and doing what, obviously it's a challenging and tiring life, but she's being true to
Right.
who she is. And that for her is success, like right now for her. So, I mean, like even that $1 of profit that you made, I mean, a movie ticket is like, that keeps you young. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that keeps you
Yeah.
engaged in all the stuff that's hard that you have to do because you have something to look
Right.
forward to.
Yes, yes. And it's kind of my version of it was my terms.
Yes.
To spend my weekend how I wanted.
Yes.
But I love hearing about how your daughter is really working to where she wants
Yes.
to live, and yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of fun. Well, fast forward a little bit after you graduated from medical school and started to move into your life, your life apart from being with your family. Talk to us a little bit about what that looked like now that you're not. Did that external validation that you needed in school extend past school? And then how did that like kind of manifest for you?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. In the medical world, it can feel very hierarchical. So you start like as an intern, then a resident, then a specialist, a consultant, and then, whatever in admin. And so it's always feeling like this ladder that you have to after the grades, right? Then it's this ladder to climb up to kind of establish your authority in terms of your specialization and whatnot. And so there was still that external need to be validated. Um, but thankfully, working in care made me confront the existential things,
Yeah.
because Lady Death is there at work. I was given that insight of, you keep wanting to do this. And so you're more focused the future and outward.
Yes.
And so there was a sense of feeling of it's never enough.
Yes.
And I'm like here handling death and having this existential experience of life is short. It can happen to anyone, whether you have chronic disease or not. It's just, it can happen. And I started to have this insight of, I want to feel successful now,
Yeah.
regardless. And how they treat me, whether I'm an intern, a resident, a specialist, should not be my feeling of success.
Yes.
And so and so I made friends with Lady Death. I hope that's not too
No,
deep
I love it.
for a lot of your listeners. But when you make friends with her, your daily self-talk changes, because then you are more focused on what really matters to you. Like if I die today or tomorrow, I spend my energy and time to those that matters to me.
Yes.
And then you do things for you, but not for others.
Yeah.
And not in a selfish way, but in more like a self-love way, because when you love yourself more, everything else follows. Then people will see that self-love, and they get to feel more of that self-love.
Yeah.
So then success became more, yeah, kind of being at with how you are today, where you are today, and kind of that detachment for the future, and not being too future oriented, and at the same
Yes.
time not being too hard on yourself with
Yes.
things that you didn't get to do. So really being at present moment. So that was when, that's like now success to me, no,
Yes.
among other things, being
Of
present.
course,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's really interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, in the book, I have a chapter called "In the Middle," and I talk. I mean, that basically what you said is the premise of the whole book, and that is, like
Mm,
success, the way it's defined by culture, is completely incorrect. Because what
mm,
we're doing is we're looking for a tangible result in something intangible. So we're never
mm,
going to be satisfied. We're never going to be whole because we
mm,
accomplished something and then that wasn't enough. So then we have to go
right.
for the next thing and then that's not enough. And then we're constantly going for the next thing and we're always left empty. And so I talk about how we have to really embrace the now and say, what is successful in this moment? How am I paying attention to what I need and what the people who matter need? And so that I can feel accomplished in what I
Right.
have done and what I am doing right now. And the other
Right.
component that I think is really interesting, and I have to remind myself of this too, is so I have anxiety and depression, and so that's something that
Mm,
I kind of, I don't want to say battle, but that's just something that's ever present that I have to like kind of navigate, in my life. And they
mm,
say that
mm,
depression is being stuck in the past and anxiety
mm,
is being stuck in the future. And so
yes.
the way that I treat
Mm,
myself or the way that I medicate myself in a way, aside from actual medication, because it helps for some people, it helps
mm,
me,
mm,
is
mm,
allowing myself to sit in the present. So
right.
I've incorporated a lot of meditation in my life. And when I
Mm,
actually start feeling like I'm spinning a little bit, or, just like, why do I feel this way? I'll just like literally lay down, I'll pull up my fuzzy blanket and I'll turn on a guided meditation. I'll just like close my eyes and like, I'm just going to sit here for a minute. Like I'm going to be here right now. And I
mm,
put a TikTok up yesterday because I just felt crappy in the morning yesterday. I don't know. I just was like feeling, my husband was working a side job. I like asked the 12-year-old, I'm like, come snuggle with me. I'm feeling needy. And she's like, I'm all good. I'm like, I called my oldest and I'm like, come love her. And she's like, man, I'm good. Like we were going to all get together later. And so I just felt like, wah, wah, wah. So I made a
mm,
TikTok where I was like, I'm just laying on the floor, like, because that felt good. Like, my bed is really low to the ground, and so I just like, I tried doing a little bit of yoga, and then I just like literally laid on the floor, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna record this. I'm just gonna be real, like sometimes you don't feel so mothery or so day, sometimes you just don't feel good. But I'm here. I'm in this moment. I'm gonna capture this moment. I'm alive. And it's okay that I don't feel good. We don't have to feel good every moment of every day, but we need to feel. We need to be present because if we aren't present, then we miss the moments where we could give ourselves a win, you know?
right.
And
Right.
I was paying
And
attention to my
so
body.
golden. Yeah, I love that insight that you share of, it's okay not to be okay, and to allow to feel things, because feelings are superpowers, they inform us of where we are.
Yes.
And that low, and I actually just talked about this in my platform too. The lows, the bends are essential. Our spectrum of emotions as human beings, the anxiety to depression, those are our piano pieces, and that is part of being human. And the important, and I think that is one of the root causes why people feel so unsuccessful, because they deny the bend. they deny the low and the downs, and they keep wanting to like power through. You have your PMS, you have your day that you're not feeling productive, and instead of like honoring and like you being just in the floor and
Yes.
honoring that, I'm just feeling this way and I'm feeling this way. But when we honor it, think of it anatomically, how can you if you do not bend?
Yeah.
The bend is essential. Like when we then if we can feel part of us, then we can well, no? We can prepare for it because the bend will give us that springboard to lead the
Yes.
next time.
Well, it's what was really interesting too was like last month my book was in pre-order campaign. So it was like
Mm,
this chaotic, like very, and I'm pushing myself past the point of like what
mm,
felt comfortable because you have a time period, and I'm kind of a like very lackadaisical. I like to kind of do things at my own pace, and so when people put like a time crunch on me, it makes me feel very anxious. So I knew that the rebound from that
yeah,
was going to be a big kickback. And so we're
right.
on the ninth, you know what I mean? So I knew that I just knew I feel this way, but it's okay. I have stuff I need to get done and blah, 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 blah. And then it just like bam. You know what I mean?
Right,
You can't
right.
you can't deny yourself what you feel without consequences. And I think your body is going to shut down, or you're going to get sick, or you're going to feel horrible, or like you're going to have a mental crisis, or you're going to feel short and irritable, or whatever, and have problems with somebody that you don't really need to have problems with, because you're not expressing how you feel inside, and you're not expressing, so it comes out in other ways, and that
Right.
again, it short circuits um that natural, like you're saying, like the ebb and flow of life, and we're short circuiting ourselves where we could be feeling better so much faster, but we're extending this period of not
Right.
feeling good because we're
Yes.
denying ourselves the opportunity to
Right.
just like feel it and move on, like,
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's it's a really interesting phenomenon, but the key is just like being very present to that, to the emotions, and also to like what's happening, like, and not thinking that it has to be some big thing. It doesn't have to be some big thing, like it can be, I got a cup of coffee today and it like really tasted good, and I'm so glad that I like got a cup of coffee. It can be so simple, like just
Right.
the little things that, you I did my laundry and I folded it and I put it away, like whatever it is, the little things that we can give ourselves credit for and we don't give ourselves credit for. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think that that's so important that in the middle we pause, because
Right.
like you said, Lady Death is coming for us at some point, whether that be
Mhm.
right now in the middle or far down the line.
Mhm.
But what is a travesty is when we just keep searching for the enough, for the
Right.
thing that's going to fill the void, when what fills the
Right.
void is being right here, saying, I graduated from college. I sold that
Yeah.
soap and I made $1. I got to go to the movie. I had some sense of accomplishment. I
Yes.
made it to my internship. So many people
Mhm.
don't make it to their internship. So screw
Mhm.
whatever anybody else says to say, because I'm going to do a great job. And if you don't like
Right.
me, I'm still here. So that's your problem. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's so important. And to the point that you were making, we get caught up in the external validation, and that's a lot of times what's missing is the internal validation that causes that battle.
Right. Right. And I don't think it's wrong to want external
Oh,
things.
totally not.
I feel like we just, or in my experience, it feels more successful if you lead with the internal, and then the external reflects the internal,
Yeah.
versus you want that external so you feel better. It will become very short lived if it's that way, if it's coming from outside to make you feel better.
Oh yeah. I think it's miraculous how this takes
Mm-hmm.
place. Like so for example, something I do in addition to my consulting business is I am a notary and I do loan signings. And this is like, again, like the side hustle thing, but I love doing this. I get to meet so many cool people. And it has been so slow. Like January, I used to do like 40, 50 a month. And January, I did 4. And February, I did 1. And then March, I
Mm-hmm.
did, I think, 11. And I felt so like depressed about it, just like so upset because it was not what I was used to. Then, of course, the financial impact and all those things. And then I just said, okay, universe, I release this whole thing. I'm going to accept assignments that I wouldn't normally accept as long as they're reasonable. And I'm going to trust that this is going to be okay. I did 31 signings last month. Like it like bounced right back. The minute I said like I'm going to be, and then every time I got a signing, even if it was like a crappy signing, like not paid very much, I would be like, thank you so much, universe, for this signing. I'm so excited to meet these people. And like, I hope that I can, be there for them in this important time because they're either buying or they're selling or they're refinancing. And I'm just like, and I would call my friends. I'm like, I'm going to a signing right now, like so excited, and I think that's the thing is when you embrace it on the inside, this external comes to you, like this validation comes to you that's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. It's like we are a magnet to that.
Yeah. Yes, yes. I love that you said that, magnet, because for me, what also clicked, especially starting to become a mom. So prior to being a mother, I was used to being so linear and kind of doing, 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 doing. So there's like I can hit the target, deadline, whatever. There's nothing distracting me. But when you go into your feminine, like meaning the divine feminine of flow, rhythm, cycles, because biologically, as a woman, you have cycles. Compared to men, it's really just linear, their biology, women are cyclical. Like we have our cycles, we have our pubertal, menarche, menopausal, and even in our cycles. Anyway, back to that magnet. The divine feminine, the feminine psychology is really the pull, and we can lean back, and we are the flowers. The bee will come to us.
Mm-hmm.
When we can be that queen of the universe will arrange itself for me. Even on an anatomical level, our wombs are this way. We are meant to receive help, receive, compliments, receive the circle, the women's circle. So then we can be more productive when we are in that undoing, magnetic, and pull mode versus like just a push. That's very masculine, which is good. We have our masculine energy. But when we are caught up to like, no, I'm going to do this and check, check, check the checklist,
Yeah.
and there's kind of no flow and you just have to be linear, it's harder for women to feel successful because our cycles are way. Biologically, we're meant to have this like ups and downs, ups and downs. So
Yes.
when I accepted and really enjoyed the feminine of like, I'm gonna be in my lean back, and I don't need to work so hard to attract whoever I need to attract, and then magic happens.
Yes.
But it's hard because we're conditioned to like working hard for it, of like
Yes.
getting out there and doing the checklist. And so for those women who are still listening and kind of in that hustle mode, I invite you to be in that magnetic flower, and the bee will come.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. What for you right now, what feels successful for you right now, where you're at with your practice, with your life, with your family? Where are you feeling success in your present day?
In my present day, I there was one day I just had the vacation back home in the Philippines, and so my father just survived a 1 month ICU
Oh, wow.
stay. He almost, and so me having the autonomy of time, having the energy, the capacity, and health to bring all my family home, and to honor my mother who just fought death and said, "Not today," and me just being there for myself to honor him is a success. While I get to serve my mission, no, while I get to serve my mission as a women's health doctor, that balance of I get to spend time with who I love the most and still make an impact on the women I need to serve,
Yeah.
and that I get to embody what I preach, that we pause, we take time for ourselves and them. So to me it was just, I have a picture, I'm gonna share it actually with my social media. That to me was like, oh my gosh, that felt like a success. It wasn't my number in the bank. Of course, that is fleeting. I also am happy when the numbers in the
Right.
bank are high, or I get to eat all that stuff. But that was just like, oh my gosh, perfect, perfect spot for success for me.
I love that. I love that. When you think about moving forward in life and you think about where things are headed and what you want for yourself and your family, take yourself like 20 years in the future and then look back. What would you want to accomplish between now and then to feel like you really achieved your truest definition of life success?
I I think um, living with my heart, continuing to live with my heart, and while I still feel present. And when I say live with my heart, to really go for the wildest and biggest dream of impact that I want to serve women, um, meaning like that center, maybe a holistic hospital, a retreat center for families. So that would be feeling like a success that I am able to manifest that while I still feel grounded and on my day-to-day basis, that I don't lose myself as I manifest the external
Yeah.
things.
Oh gosh, that's so important. I think, well, I can think of so many times. I think like turning, well, really just this entrepreneurial journey. I turned 40 and then I became an entrepreneur, and um,
Mm.
it changed everything for me. I started in failure, like I got fired, and then I felt so much anxiety to apply for a job that I thought it would be safer to become a business owner, which is really funny because you get rejection all the time. Um, but having to come into this into my own and having to really embrace my demons and then also embrace the things that I'm really good at, I can see back how many times that in the search for what I wanted to manifest, I gave up things in the middle. And
Mhm.
and I have so many regrets for that time period of my life.
Mhm.
And all I
Mhm.
can do for this time period of my life is say, what is most important for me today? And that is like, I sent a message to my oldest child because I call her my spicy one because she was very challenging as a child. And so we were at dinner last night for Mother's Day, and my youngest says, "Did Angie do anything good when she was little? Because all I hear is like when she was being naughty or whatever." And so, and I'm telling these stories because for me it's funny. You know what I mean? Like that she was like so precocious, she's 23. So I sent her a message today and I said, I want to tell you something. Even though we always talk about how you were naughty or how, you had all these
Mhm.
things, I said, you brought me so much joy and you
Mhm.
loved your baby sister and you were so excited to be a big sister because they're only 23 months apart. And I
Mhm.
said, you were very loving. You had a big heart. And I loved your curiosity and I loved your tenacity. And I said, you are a survivor and a warrior, and you're so
Mhm.
strong. And you're not just a naughty child. Like you
Mhm.
changed my life. Like she's the one that made me a mother, like, and brings me so much joy to my life. And so I said, like I really thought about that, and like we have to. I feel like teary just even thinking about it. But it's just like that is a measure of like listening. Like if I hadn't listened to that little comment, I like wonder if she feels that way. Like she was only the bad kid. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not true. You know what I mean? Yes, she had her struggles and she is very strong-willed and she's an Aries in the truest sense of that. And she, has a temper and everything, but like she's so strong. She's so strong and she has this um tenacity is the best word, and it's just like we have to listen and be present to fulfill these moments, because I would have missed that in a previous life, powering through trying to get what I wanted. I would have missed that comment. I would have missed that moment, and not like pat me on the back because I sent her a message or whatever. It's not about me. It's about what I need as a mom to communicate to my child who is an adult, but still needs to hear those things from her mom, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think that's so we can't take back the things that we did while we were powering through in our masculine, but we can change what we do right now. And that includes people who are young adults her age. Like maybe she has things that she regrets or things that she doesn't feel good about, or other, young adults, they have things that they don't feel good about, but they can take right now and say, what is most important? How can I be most true to myself in this moment and moving forward? And no, they're totally going to fuck it up. And they're going to fuck it up and they're going to fuck it up. And then you, in that moment, you screw it up. And then you're like, okay, what is most important right now? I feel horrible. I feel bad. That didn't feel good. Why didn't it feel good? What do I actually want as an outcome? Move another step forward, because we're not likely to make the same mistake again if it didn't feel good, but we have to be present to that.
Right, right. But I love that you were able to be so focused on listening to that might be the story only that they heard or she heard, and that you were able to reframe it and have a different, you were rewriting the story also for her, right? Like kind of saying that she was not just that, she's also all of that.
She
So
is.
that's one.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And we get to rewrite our stories
Yes.
every day, right?
Yes, we
And
do.
so mm-hmm,
Yeah, we do. That is absolutely true. We do. Because that is
mm-hmm,
all context. And that's what we
mm-hmm,
have to, like, in a book, right? Like you have the backstory. That's all our backstory. That's not our reality
mm-hmm.
right now. That's just our
Exactly.
backstory. That's
Right.
what brought us to the current problem, situation, climax of what's happening, until the next thing that becomes our backstory and brings us to a new place of strength.
Yes.
So, well, Dr. Patricia, tell us how our viewers can find out more about you and your practice and about the work that you do with women. Tell us the best place that they can reach you.
Yes. So they can reach me through my website. It's www.thrivelifecenter.com. So it's TRHIVE as in thriving-lifecenter.com. So I also do not just medical consultations, but I do mentorship specifically for women so that they feel successful, they can overcome the burnout and thrive in all areas of their life, mind, body, spirit, without the sacrifice of their relationship, their energy, or time, and feel like they're living their best life. So I do have a few slots of mentorship open,
Awesome.
so they can just direct message me through there. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this great discussion. I feel like fired up and ready for the day.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me, Ria.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next time.